Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a totally mind-bending new scientific framework, one that takes human consciousness, time, and gravity and rolls them all into a single, unified system. I'm incredibly pumped to walk you through this because we're looking at a living synthesis, a document that actually bridges quantum biology, cosmology, and the very nature of human intent. It's wild stuff.
So think about this for a second. What if human consciousness and the gravity of a black hole are actually built from the exact same field? We're going to tackle this massive question by exploring two groundbreaking fringe theories that honestly might just be two sides of the same cosmic coin. On one hand, you've got the delicate internal mechanics of telepathy in the mind. On the other, the heavy, emergent properties of time and gravity. If the synthesis we're looking at today holds up, the universe is way more intimately connected to your biology than you probably ever imagined.
Here's our roadmap for the explainer. 1. Two theories of everything. 2. The Neutrinoverse substrate. 3. Chronogravity and emergent time. 4. The grand synthesis. And finally, 5. Testing the unified framework.
All right, jumping right into Section 1, two theories of everything, competing suspects or cosmic accomplices. Let's meet the main characters of our cosmic detective story.
Our first suspect is the Neutrinoverse, proposed by Amanda Joliffe. This whole framework hinges on an ancient, unchanging field of relic neutrinos. We're talking about the literal leftovers from the very first second after the Big Bang. They sit at a freezing 1.95 Kelvin, and there are roughly 336 of them in every single cubic centimeter of space around us. In this model, this fluid is perfectly isotropic, meaning it behaves exactly the same way no matter what direction you look. It acts as an omnipresent substrate for sovereign telepathy and self-referential information access. It is essentially the ultimate holographic medium.
Then we have our second theory, chronogravity by Adam James Parks. This introduces a totally different vibe. Here, time itself is the fundamental field, a 5D psi field. Time isn't just a coordinate we're floating through, time is the field. And the topological structures inside this field, think of them as cosmic knots, are what actually generate the things we experience as matter and gravity.
Moving on to Section 2, the Neutrinoverse substrate, the immutable cosmic ocean. Let's look closer at the Neutrinoverse.
Picture this cosmic neutrino background as an untouched superfluid. Because neutrinos have zero net electromagnetic signature, this field literally ghosts right through all known electromagnetic shielding. It only interacts via the weak force. The source text actually calls it the clean field, a non-depleting layer that preserves sovereignty for consciousness, completely separate from all the messy, dissipating electromagnetic plasmas we're used to dealing with.
Now, how do we actually interact with this ocean? This is where the biological interface gets absolutely fascinating. According to the source, human DNA acts as a scalar wave antenna. But, you can't just accidentally hook into this background field. When someone reaches a 7 Hz heart-brain coherent state, and this is specifically driven by altruistic intent, their DNA uses fractal toroidal moments to cryptographically tune into this field. It creates a phase lock driven by what's called golden ratio negentropic implosion. Basically, your coordinate choices create order in the background, which then bounces right back up and updates your DNA.
Let's shift gears to Section 3, chronogravity and emergent time, the currents of the cosmos.
Okay, forget what you've heard about matter bending space. In chronogravity, that's not happening at all. Instead, emergent gravity is just the spatial derivative of time field pressure. Think of it like deep sea water pressure pushing against the hull of a submarine. The math here describes the literal flow of time itself. Matter actually compresses the timeline, and what you and I feel as gravity, that's just the physical result of those time field pressure gradients.
This whole framework relies on things called psi-knots or chrononauts. These are incredibly stable topological structures inside the 5D field that construct space-time geometries and even hold together stable wormholes, all maintained by a concept called chronobuoyancy. But the coolest part? It doesn't stop out there in astrophysics. Through something Parks calls tick cascade theory, this 5D field interacts directly with quantum biology, literally dictating how time dilation operates inside our very own cells. So when you put these ideas side by side, you realize they aren't competing theories at all. They are the exact same underlying system, just viewed at different scales, and through different mathematical lenses. Down at the low-energy particle level, you've got the isotropic neutrino superfluid of the Neutrinoverse. But when you zoom way out to the macroscopic scale, you see the 5D psi field with its topological knots and emergent gravity from chronogravity.
Which brings us to Section 4, the grand synthesis. merging mind, time, and gravity. Let's merge these concepts.
When we map the properties of these two theories directly over each other, the grand synthesis just pops. The cosmic neutrino background is, quite literally, the physical manifestation of what chronogravity calls the 5D field. Both models absolutely agree that the medium is non-dissipative. It doesn't get used up when you interact with it. And most importantly, whether you call it DNA phase locking or psi field resonance, the takeaway is identical. Consciousness isn't traveling through a space. It's simply tuning into a field.
And here is the real kicker. Both frameworks point to the exact same frequency range, right around 7 to 8 Hz, essentially the 7.83 Hz Schumann resonance, as the magic biological activation frequency for coupling human consciousness to the cosmos. The Neutrinoverse talks about a 7 Hz alpha-theta heart-brain coherence, while the chronogravity unification models cite a 7.83 Hz Rodin coil frequency to modulate the field. That frequency is the precise variable that determines how well you're coupled to the universe.
So, if we build this unified architecture from the bottom up, your biological interface, specifically the quantum coherence in your cellular microtubules and the toroidal shape of your DNA, acts as your antenna. The CNB fluid provides the substrate, and the chronogravity topology is the dynamic field layered on top. This synthesis reveals something profound. Conscious intent doesn't send a signal out into the void. It actually changes the boundary condition of the field itself. By being in a coherent state, your consciousness restructures the field's topological knots, which then instantly feeds right back into your biology.
Let's talk proof. In Section 5, testing the unified framework, from theory to laboratory.
A theory is just a theory until you can test it, right? Thankfully, this synthesis gives us a clear blueprint for the lab. By taking the Tomislav-Rupik-Haas IIP protocol, which is basically a specialized experimental filter for coherence, and combining it with these predictions, scientists can test the biology and the cosmology at the same time. We're talking about testing a human subject's microtubule coherence inside a deep Faraday cage while simultaneously tracking anomalies in nuclear beta decay rates, or using the LISA observatory to look for Chern-Simons bifringens in gravitational waves. If these predictions hold up, we could capture the exact moment biological tuning modulates the fabric of the universe.
The source text gives us this one profound quote. The mind does not go somewhere. It tunes in to what is already everywhere. I mean, wow, that completely redefines our place in things. It shows that human intent is intimately, intrinsically woven into the very fabric of space and time. You aren't reaching out across an empty void. You're calibrating your own biology to resonate with an ever-present ancient field that dictates the flow of time and the weight of gravity.
So we'll leave you with this to chew on long after this explainer wraps up. If every coherent thought you have restructures the topological knots of the entire universe, what frequency are you broadcasting right now? Thank you so much for exploring this mind-expanding synthesis with me.